name is Winfred, and welcome to this channel where it's all about life on Fridays. And today is not any different. We are doing life, and here with me is my brother that you get to know. He will introduce himself, and we are going to be talking about finances. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, subscribers. You're amazing. And those of you who are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button. You'll be able to get notification of videos as and when they drop in. And also you'll be able to access in the archives our journey where we have been. Every Friday is dedicated to live chats, and today is one of those. And we're going to be talking about money and investments. You will love it. So if you're one that has been wondering about money, today is one of those days, and welcome to the channel. You'll leave this place a different person. So tell a friend. If you're going to have a cup of tea, go ahead, grab it, and let us together build ourselves. Those of you who are watching from very far, you're welcome on board. It's a live chat. Feel free to drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching in from, and who you are, your opinion, your experience about finances, and don't hesitate to ask questions. It's a live chat, and you can go on and call in if you want on +256 762 599 138. You'll be able to join us on the live chat, and also you can send your comments. If I don't read them right away, do not worry, I've seen them, and there'll be a time for the comments as well. Otherwise, let my brother introduce himself and tell us who he is and what he does, and then we'll continue.
Great. Hello, viewers. Welcome to this live chat. I'm happy to finally be here. My sister's been up to a lot. I've been following the channel with all that she's up to, with the different experiences of life that she shares. So good to finally be here. My name is Grace. I work in financial services, where I work for most of my life. I work for. Currently, I work just under a bank. I manage money for people. So I hope I'll be able to give you some tips on how to do that. But otherwise, I'm happily married. I bring you greetings from my family, who are, I'm sure they are following what's happening this evening. But otherwise, it's great to be here, and I look forward to your questions and just for us to talk and engage, and just learn from each other.
That is that's the bit of his introduction. He's got a bigger CV than that one, but since we are not applying for jobs, guys, that will do for now. Otherwise, those of you who are tuning in and are interested in finances, I know Jamie is, and she can go ahead, and Yadin, they are interested in finances. Go ahead and tune in. And those of you who are interested in finances, you want to retire early, you want to learn how you can balance finances and lifestyle, you have financial independence and wealth building, you want to to learn about economic trends and global finances. We are going to be handling that as well. Business and entrepreneurship. Yes, we are going to be going into some of those areas. Personal finances, if time allows, and if our numbers don't drop. Those are some of the areas we are going to cover. Balancing personal finances, budgeting techniques and strategies, and also investing. So if you're looking at those topics and they ring a bell to you, go ahead and tune in, and you will be blessed. Before we go any further, we are going to pray and welcome the Holy Spirit. The reason why I do that is because this channel is a Bible-based channel. We read the Bible from Genesis all the way up to Revelation on a daily basis. And today we just dedicated it to the life chart of life. So um, we pray because it's basically founded on the Bible. So let us pray and welcome the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, we bless you. Thank you so much for yet another time. We ask that even as we try and grow ourselves spiritually and physically, that you come and take over. May you guide us in all that we are going to be discussing. May our lives be transformed and changed through the discussions today. And may you help us achieve all that we are going to learn today. In Jesus' mighty name, we have believed and prayed.
Amen.
Amen and amen. So today we are talking about finances and lifestyle. But before we go any further, we are going to discuss financial independence and wealth building. And that sounds like a very key topic, and I would like to get into that when our numbers have grown. But before we go any further, let's talk about how to travel on budgets. I know we're going to start on a low key so that those who are having a shower, those who are traveling can get home and we catch up. So how can you travel on a low budget, Grace? Say like you're planning a trip with your family, and you want to go take a trip. I mean, we tend to think that it's these people who are in countries that are developed that use, you do trips and holidays. We can do that as well as Ugandans, right?
Absolutely.
So if we can, how can I travel on budget? Me and my family, or me and my wife, or me and my girlfriend, or me and my partner. How can we travel on a budget?
Yeah, first of all, I'm a travel fan. I'm a travel fan. I like to see new places. I like to just experience what other places have to offer. And one of the things I've learned about how you can make travel happen is, first of all, you have to start by planning early. If you wait for December to start looking for tickets, you're already late. So even that alone is going to cost you a lot more money. So for me, traveling, if you're passionate about traveling, if you want to see what the world has to offer, you need to plan as a family, and you say that 1 year from now, you would like to maybe visit Zanzibar. Okay. The benefit of doing that is you find that even tickets or hotels, when you normally book a lot earlier in advance, will be significantly cheaper compared to if you do it late. So for me, the first important bit is agree with your family. Say, for example, maybe are the kids off school? What are we likely to be doing in June next year? And then you set the dates early, and then you start planning. So that's one of the important ways you can manage.
What about these things that I hear or about going to the travel agent, those people who book tickets and then inquire about offers? Does that kind of thing work? Like
yes.
they give you packages if you're many.
Yes, I think travel agents play a big role, because at least the advantage of working with a travel agent is, first of all, sometimes they can accommodate partial payments. So, for instance, instead of maybe a ticket's going to cost you $500, unlike if you were to buy directly from the airline, where you'd have to pay the price up front, a travel agent can say, okay, if you pay in maybe 4 installments, if you're doing it early, so they can give you that flexibility, which is also can be friendly to your budget, that you don't have to wait to accumulate all the money. Of course, also travel agents, because they deal with very many tour hotels and different resorts, they can know deals what's going on, and they can help to package something for your family. So
which makes it affordable.
Yes, which makes it affordable. But also what I have personally experienced is that you can plan your own holiday even without an agent.
You see?
And many people don't know that. But you can plan your own holiday without going through an agent. And most times it's cheaper.
Without an agent?
Yes, it's cheaper when you do that, because of course an agent, the reason they are in the business is to in addition to the price you're going to pay, they charge a margin.
True.
They charge a margin for their profits.
So you mean I can plan to go on holiday and exclude them, and how do I go about that? And I travel on budget, because remember we are looking to travel
on a budget. Yeah. Maybe I think it's better to use examples. So I remember way back in 2011, a few months just after we got married, we planned our holiday to go to Greece somewhere with my wife. We bought all our tickets directly from there. I remember that time we used Egypt Air. We went to the internet, checked what's the shortest flight from Kampala from Entebbe rather, to Greece. Of course, there are different options. You can fly from here to Nairobi, then Nairobi to Athens. No, Nairobi, I think, to London, then London to Athens. That was too long. That will not work for us. So we look at very different options. Then we realize, wait, there's a flight directly from Entebbe to Cairo, then Cairo to Athens, and it's a very short flight. So we booked that. When it came to...
You did it minus the agent?
Yes, without the agent. You just go on the internet, you go on the booking companies, maybe Travelocity, or there was a website called Wanda. Now I think Expedia is one of the big ones. So you can actually go there and book your flight yourself. If you have a card, a bank card, the debit card, if you have the money there, you put in your card details and you'll be able to pay. So if you don't have a card, either if a friend of yours has a card that you can use and you give them the money, that is one way to do it. But if you don't have a card, because those websites, you have to have a card. If you don't have a card, then you'd have to go through an agent, and that's where an agent can help. But I think, for me, my experience is when we booked our own travels, it's a lot cheaper. When it comes where you're going to stay, you can go to a website called Booking.com. Booking.com has a listing of all of various properties in every city that you're going to. You select your dates, maybe even where you want to stay, and they will tell you that, near where you want to stay, these are the available properties, and this is rated maybe 8 stars, this one 8.5, this one 9. So you choose also based on the price. And different prices so there's everything priced properties in different hotel ranges. So you can even choose your price point. If you want a cheaper property, so again, that's one way to manage your cost. So,
and you can you live, can you get a place to stay minus agents?
Absolutely, that's exactly that is all. Personally, I have never used a travel agent when we travel. Book all our travels ourselves. There's been a few, I think maybe just one where we used an agent, if I recall. But every time we travel, we book our travels ourselves. So I think for me that is key. But if you don't know how.
Now, if I want to go, anyway, we are going so deep into that travel bit. Yeah. If I want to go to, say, like before, just to summarize, people may be wondering, I want to take a trip and go to Dubai with my family. How can I travel cheap, on budget, and still, get to enjoy, to have fun? I heard you can rent a place, a full house, and get to stay there. Is that possible minus agents?
Yes, so it is possible, minus agents. For example, if, for example, you can on Booking.com, there are prices for both hotels, but also maybe accommodation like apartments. You can even select where you want to stay. So that way you can manage where you can book out an entire house, and again, so you can manage. The most important thing is the internet has brought all the options to you. You don't have to depend on an agent. So for me, if you learn those few tips, use sites like Booking.com. They'll give you many options. For example, if you want to go to, let's say, Fort Portal, if you go to Booking.com, type in Fort Portal, put in your dates, they will show you all the properties in Fort Portal, and they even have guest comments that this worked well for me. This one was not so good. Maybe here the water wasn't warm. So you choose, but the power is in your hand. So
okay, guys, there you have it about traveling on budget. Guys, you're welcome on board. Those of you who are dropping by for the very first time, it's a live chat. Feel free to drop a comment, and also you can call in on +256 762 599 138. It's a live chat. You will be able to be heard, and also you can drop your comments. We'll read them. We may not read them right away, but we'll definitely read them. Today we are talking about money and investments. I know some of you have just tuned in, and this guy here is very good with statistics and investment. So you feel free to ask any questions. Now, we are talking about finance and lifestyle for right now, and we'll go deeper. The topics that we are going to cover are financial independence and wealth building. We are going to be also covering economic trends and global finances. You've heard those things of digital currency or digital banking. We'll talk about that as well. We are going to talk about business and entrepreneurship. Guys, if you want one who is looking to invest your money, this is the right place to be for today. And we are going to be talking about personal finances, budgeting techniques. We are going to be talking about investing. This guy, I think he can reintroduce himself for the new people that have just got on board.
Okay, once again, welcome to the live show, viewers. My name is Grace Semakula. I'm a financial services professional. I've done that for quite a number of years, since 2000. Let me not tell you. Let me tell you the year. Lest you work backwards and start judging me. But I've been in the financial services industry for quite a number of years. I started my first job. I was a stockbroker. You know what stockbrokers?
No, I don't. You let me know.
So I was a stockbroker. You see how the write about broker. Yeah? But me, I was a broker, but not for houses or land,
but for stocks,
for shares.
Okay.
So I was a stockbroker for about 5 years, and then I moved from that industry. I started managing some money at the National Social Security Fund. Yeah, then I did another job at Umeme, and now I'm in a bank where I help to advise people on how and where to invest. So that's my professional background. I'm married and I have 3 children. Casted, who is 12, and then two daughters, Moisa and Milan, who are 10 and 6. The youngest will be turning 7 in a week's time from now. So that's a bit about me.
So
I think it gives a good picture.
Yeah,
so feel free to ask me questions. I hope
regarding finances, do not hesitate to ask. Regarding investments, he's very good. So if you want, go ahead and drop in the comments. It's a live chat, guys. Go ahead and ask any question. He will be able to answer it as long as it's in the line of investment and statistics. He's really good at that. And he's my brother, by the way. So you're in safe hands. Otherwise, today we are talking about those different topics, and we are going to talk about also ethical investing and socially responsible finances. How can I live responsibly and yet be able to invest my money at the same time? To be able to have a social life, like, today is Friday. I can go out with my friends, I can, have fun, but still be able to invest money and be able to sustain that lifestyle. So, do you have something to say about that one?
So yes, I do. I know our viewers are a very engaging audience, and we talk about different topics. So finance is a very big word. It's a very very big word, and this topic in particular talks about how companies choose where to put their money. So, for example, when we talk about socially responsible finance, let's think about a bank. When a bank is thinking about who to lend their money, they'll ask questions like, but the company or the individual are lending, what are they going to use their money for? If they're going to use it for something that pollutes the environment, for example, producing chemicals and dumping them in water, which is used by the community, is it right for the bank to continue to give that loan? So, if the bank did not consider, if the bank considers such factors, then that's what is called socially responsible finance. So it is finance that the bank is giving someone money, but it has a social aspect behind it to understand that is it either improving the livelihoods of the people where they are, or is it impacting them in a negative way? So that's how social responsibility in one way in our social responsibility in finance comes in. But there are several other examples. Maybe a positive one would be where there are entities, let's say there's a problem in a community, and the problem is there's not enough housing, good affordable housing. So one bank or any entity that provides finance will say, okay, we're going to provide money to help to build a community again. Now that is building the positive side of the society. So that is what socially responsible finance deals with. Yeah. So it's not so much an individual.
Yes,
it is about yes, it deals with companies and those entities which provide finance. How are they impacting the economy or the society positively? So that's what social responsible investment.
Okay. What is the cost of raising a child in our day now?
With
now that you say, because you said you have 3 kids, I'm assuming they go to school. What is the still like to someone who wants to start a family or has just started a family and probably has got a 1-year-old or a newborn? What are some of the things that they should be on a lookout for? Like be mindful of now that they've started parenting. What is that general cost of raising up a child? Or can you quantify it, or it's not possible for one to do that?
I think that is above my pay grade. First of all, I've been out of child and early child raising stage for quite a number of years. So maybe a lot has changed.
No, but when I ask the cost of raising a child, like when you have just gotten a child, found out you're pregnant, guys, this is going to be deeper than this. We are just waiting on others to get on board. But like when you've just found out you have your wife is pregnant or your girlfriend is pregnant, and you're scared about the cost that it would take for that child to grow up. where they'll go to school, what does it mean, how much will they need, can you quantify it? One thing I would say that you cannot quantify, the money that you inject in a child to the point of growing up, because as we grow, our statuses change, and probably we take our children to better schools. If I'm going to have a child and my income is good, I'll definitely go in a really good hospital to have this child. So when we talk about cost of raising a child, that's a different topic altogether. I just hit on it. I thought he would have, since he's into investments and all that, I thought he would see it as an investment.
No, absolutely, it is. And it's probably the biggest investment that a parent would make. Apart from, once you have the child, you need to think about, obviously, talk about school.
Yeah,
that's quite key. Where are they going to school? Not just in the early education levels like primary, but also thinking as far as university.
True.
I'll tell you.
And there are plans that I can put in place to ensure that this child will go to school regardless of my income.
Yes. The plans
and complete.
Yes, the plans are there, and I think we'll talk about some of them a little bit later. But one of the things I wanted to mention on this question is, from observation, the price of education, the price of sending the child to school, has gone up very high, compared to the price of many other things, let's say like food. For example, one term you're paying 1 million shillings. The next term, the school, every time every beginning of new financial year, the school sends you a new circular saying due to inflation, our fees have gone up to 1.15. So education is a big part of the cost of
so how can I secure that and not be worried about it? There's someone I know, and this gentleman and the girlfriend had planned. Once they had their child, the girlfriend suggested, we need to pay school fees for this child in this primary school, because that's where I want my kid to go for for his whole primary. The 7 years. Actually, it's not 11, 10 years. Yeah. School plan. Is it a wise thing to do? You've got a child and immediately you pay their fees before they are even 1 year, or they are 1 year and you're paying their fees up to when they finish primary. Is it wise because the school is in your neighborhood? I mean, she was doing this, saying, I like this school, and right now we have the money, but I don't know about tomorrow. So if we have the money today, why don't we go to the school, consult, find out how much it costs, pay for the child from preschool to primary ending? Is it a wise thing to do, or is it not?
Life is interesting, and things change. So I would not advise that you make an upfront payment of the next 7 years to a particular school. Why? Because you could move country. You could maybe move, to another part of this of Uganda, maybe because of your job or because of your partner's job, or any other circumstances. So I think regardless of how happy you are with the school, my recommendation would be pay when the fees are due. Pay the fees for that term and continue to evaluate. You cannot book a cost for the next 10 years and you pay that money.
I guess
now that it doesn't. It might seem like you are saving, but in reality, you might be making a commitment. Yet you find many months or years later, you wish you had not, and you could have the option to do something else. So I would advise that you do that. Even though, what I would advise is you get that money, plan it, put it, let's say, in an investment like a treasury bond, which pays you interest every 2 times a year. At least with that interest, then you can decide, okay, I'll be putting this money towards school fees, but without making the upfront payment.
There you have it, guys, about that one. In case you're looking at the cost of raising a child in our Uganda today, just to add to that, for me, it's, from general knowledge, you don't know. Life is not guaranteed to anyone. I mean, you could be here today and you're not by the time your child is in primary, yeah? God forbid that happens. If that happened and you paid fees, this child that you're paying fees for is not even in primary yet. I would think the school may not go around looking for where that child relocated to, because in case, God forbid, both parents are not around and no one has a clue that that payment was made for that long, that child will, tossed to the village with relatives, and what will happen to the money that you put ahead of time? I think that's not wise. So that's what I told that person as well, that it's not wise to make a payment in advance to that degree.
Yes, but maybe also just to add on that point, what that person could do instead is maybe buy an education policy from a company, like an insurance company that sells education policies. What those policies do is you pay, let's say, every month, you pay some money into your account, and they guarantee you that from a certain age, let's say the child turns 16 or 18, they commit to pay fees for the child, maybe for their university. So you have you've planned early for this child's education later on by taking an informal policy from an insurance company, not paying the money to a school. Okay, so that's one way you can plan for.
Now, can the insurance company look for that child in case the parents are not around?
Yes.
And compensate?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what those insurance policies, that's what they're meant for. What they try to do is in the event something happens to you, the company has committed that it will, let's say, meet a certain sum assured. They call it a sum assured. Where you might find that, for example, you have contributed, let's say, 10 million shillings over the life of the policy. But if something happens to you and the sum assured is 100 million, then that money will be made available, 100 million to your family, or to look after them. So that's one way to plan ahead, and I think that helps to at least provide that assurance that your little ones, yes, will have a safety net. They'll be able to complete school. I think that's important.
Okay, there's also this other one that I wanted to ask: money and relationship. Is it something that is applicable? Handling finances and marriage or relationships. In case you said you are married, is it easy to handle finances and make those big decisions of investing in shares, or can you still invest even when you're married? Does it take both of you being signatories to whatever investment plans are out there, or it's just one person? Is it something that can be done, investing, or, how can you handle money? Let me just put it that way. In a relationship, whether you're married or you just have a girlfriend, is it something that you can take upon, even on grounds of either permanent relationship or temporal, like friendship, like girlfriend and boyfriend?
So yeah, money in relationships is I'm sure if we get the statistics, it is one of those most important issues in a relationship, because we know that, at least based on statistics, that a lot of divorce reasons are really centered on money, amongst other things. So it's clearly a very important topic. Different people look at this differently.
True, and it's a big topic.
So it's a big topic. I can't say that that you can say that this is the best way to do it.
But maybe to just do a baseline, not so going so deep, because this is a topic that we can handle next time, just money and relationship. But can I invest my money and how can I invest my money? Does it need that my partner is also registered to it, or when I'm say like I'm taking out shares, can I do it as an individual when we are married? Is it something we've got to do as partners because we are married or we are in a relationship? Or is it something I can just do as an individual? Can I do it as a student? Can I do it as a single person? Basically, that's what I want to know.
Yes, so you can invest as an individual. You can invest. Did you know that even a child who's less than 18 years of age can be an investor on the in the listed companies on the stock exchange?
But I'm made to understand children are not bound to contracts.
Well, they are not, but there's a mechanism for buying for them shares, which the parent holds the shares in trust for the child.
Okay.
But you can effectively create an account for them. So yes, the answer is every category of individual can invest, whether you're a child, whether you're an individual, whether you are, a couple, you're married. Specifically in the context of those who are married, one of the advantages, of course, of doing things together is that, first of all, there's transparency. There's transparency. You know what you hold, what your assets are as a family. You know that, let's say we have invested in business X, we have invested, maybe we bought shares in DFCU Bank, for example, and you know together that these are one of our investments. I think what has worked well that I see is couples who invest together, and especially men. You see,
men have a problem with money and trusting us ladies with it. Even letting us know you have some money stashed somewhere. It's not easy.
I will tell you this. Men normally men are the most, they are risk takers. Okay. So sometimes as a man,
they can even gamble your home out.
Yes. You start thinking, now I need to make sure that my family has 20 million shillings in savings by the end of this year. So you look around and you say, okay, we have some assets we can sell. If I do this and that, I can maybe double that money. So when you're thinking about it alone as a man, sometimes you get your own ideas, you know, and then you end up taking a lot of risks.
Yes.
Taking risk is not bad, but sometimes the best way is when you have someone to consult. And you sit down and tell your wife, now I was thinking, what about if we got this money, put it here? I think it will work like this. Having that ability to have a conversation with your spouse will actually give you, sometimes your spouse will see things that you don't see and say, I think you miss that person you want to lend money. What I remember from the other time, they will give you advice. So I think for me, my recommendation is couples should work together, as opposed to. But even I think even you ladies, this idea of akasente
yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't need.
The reason we do that is because you don't involve us as gentlemen in your finances. You do your financial investments, and once things fall apart, that's when you're like, you know what? They are taking the house now. We need to relocate to the village, and all this becomes too much for one to take on.
Gentlemen, we need to reform.
Yeah.
We need to reform.
Yeah. Now we are going to talk about also. I've had there's financial independence.
Are there any questions? Maybe
guys, are there any questions? Let me read some comments. Can I read from your phone? If there are any comments, guys, it's a live chat. Feel free to ask anything. So far, we're laying foundation or groundwork for our topic today, which is money and investments. And if you find you have any question, go ahead and drop in the comments. We'll read your comments. And right now, I'm just going to. Okay.
No questions yet. So
no questions. I see in the comments. Jasper, you said hi. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Jemima, thank you so much. Would you say traveling one way is cheaper than traveling with many stops? As in one way as opposed to traveling, you paid the two-way ticket, return ticket.
I think
Jemima.
Jemima's question, I think, is
I think it's based on the topic we talked about.
Yes, the beginning topic.
Yeah.
So what happens is sometimes when you're booking your ticket, you see flights that are not direct. So let's say you're like traveling from here to, let's say, to Johannesburg. A direct flight would be just travel Entebbe straight to.
And I think that would be more expensive than as one with stopovers.
Yeah. So sometimes the stopovers are, for example, if it's going through Nairobi, from here to Nairobi to Johannesburg, or from here to Kigali, then Kigali to Zambia, then Zambia to. So I think normally the direct flights are more expensive. So because of the many connections, airline can try to sell those tickets lower to get them purchased. So normally direct flights tend to be more expensive. Yeah.
Okay, Jamie, I hope your answer was given on that one. Blessed. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm glad you're watching. Audrey Jardine, you said, I would like to start investing in stocks. Is there any info on that one?
Yeah, so to invest in stocks, I could briefly talk about what it means.
Yeah. Cool.
So stocks, essentially, you can buy shares in a company, that makes you an owner or a part owner of that company.
Because you bought stocks.
Because you bought shares or stocks in that company. We have stocks in Uganda that are listed on our stock exchange that you can buy. There is Stanbic, DFCU, Bank of Baroda, New Vision, Uganda. We have about 14 companies where you can buy stocks and be an owner and become a shareholder. And you used to tell people that I'm a shareholder. So you don't just hear about shareholders, but you can become one. So that's right here in Uganda as well, where you can find the information, first of all, on the people that can help you to buy those stocks is the regulator for the industry. They are called Capital Markets Authority. You can go to their website and see who are the licensed stock brokers. So there are about 6 in Uganda. So at least if you to contact one, they'll be able to help you to buy the shares. You can't buy them yourself because you're required to go through an agent who is a stockbroker.
Now, the agent who is a stockbroker gets a commission, right?
Yes.
Off your stocks.
They get a commission off of the money that you invest in. That commission is the same for all the brokers. It doesn't change. It's just about 2.1%. So let's say if you invest in 1 million shillings, that the commission is only 21,000 shillings. So, and it's the same fee, it is regulated, so it's easy for you to become. So does that mean
that stockbroker gets that percentage every year? My stocks are still with them, or just one time?
The beauty is that they only charge you that fee once. That is the time when you are buying or the time when you are selling. So let's say if you bought the shares today, they will charge you that fee based on the amount of money you're investing. So it's a percentage fee.
So how do you get to know where to find those stockbrokers? Say, like my friends who are watching in from America or UK, and they want to invest, or in Uganda, or those who are watching in from Qatar or Dubai, Saudi Arabia, people who are watching in from Brazil, India. Guys, let me know where you're watching in from, because then I'll get to know and give the right statistics. And it's a live chat, just a quick reminder. And You can drop in your comments and questions. They will be answered. He's the expert in that one area. So I've got accounting knowledge, but our accounting background, but he's really good with investments and statistics. Those things of predicting. So you can go on and ask any question. He will be able to answer it. I can see there's someone who has dropped a comment. You can go ahead and read it.
So Alan says, hello, I hear someone I don't want to be bothered by financial decisions as long as the bills are paid. That is spot on. They don't want the details. They say, is our water paid, electricity paid? So that is true. Again, like I said, money is handled differently by different couples. It's called, there's some sophisticated terms called a money blueprint. When I ask you, what's your money blueprint? So people handle money differently. So you're right. There are some families that prefer
to just sort bills.
The lady just wants to sit back. The bills are paid. Her spending money is available on the Kameza or and happy days. And that works for it doesn't have to be any.
But what's the danger of that?
I don't see it as danger, but I think I see it as, if you are doing life together, you should know what is important to you as a family, and money is very important so that you plan together. Because in the event something happens to one of you, even the Bible says that two are better than one, and so you can carry on from there. You can then continue to lead the family. Continue to, when you have knowledge of what has been going on. You're not going to start from wondering what did we hold if someone passed away.
But I've heard of those people who take out insurance policies on their partners. Say like your girlfriend or your wife, and you take out an insurance policy, and then you ensure they die so that you can get that money. How deadly is that one, or how true is it, or how practical is it? Is it something we have in Uganda of life insurance? I take up a policy on you, say like Jerry takes up a policy on you, and the other plans to do away with one so that they can start having some crazy money. Is that something we have in Uganda or such policies we don't have, where you insure against life, and that is one way of also securing your future.
Really, I hope you're not giving people ideas on.
No. I'm not, but I've watched enough movies. I've watched enough movies on investigation
and crime documentaries.
Yeah. And people are taking out each other just so they can, keep so those policies active, or
so they can cash them out.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't know, but I'm sure. If people have seen these things happen, they might try it at home. But like you said, don't try it at home. Viewers, don't try that at home. But in principle, an insurance company will cover you for something. And if let's say you pass on, the beneficiary of the policy, will receive the compensation. So unfortunately, I think these things happen, but maybe not as common here, but we've heard of them happening quite a number of times in other, especially developed countries.
We don't so much do that here. We love life.
We are good people.
And we are a bit ignorant about these policies, because I think if they were so popular, we would also
some people might start looking at their spouse as more valuable when they're not around.
Yeah. Okay, another thing that I wanted to talk about is was financial independence, and wealth building. There's that thing they call FIRE in the finance sector, where it means financial independence, retire early, Yeah. How can one, it's a movement of, you financially independent and you're able to retire early. Everyone, when you hear that, you want to grab it. I mean, who doesn't want to retire at 30 or 25 or 40 or 50? Everyone would want that. Is that what can be some of the steps if I want to retire early, if I want to be financially independent or build wealth for myself? What are some of the things that I can do to ensure that is achieved? Other than, insurance policies where I take out my spouse and end up having some cash with me.
So yes, I like that word, financial independence, because it speaks about being free.
Yeah.
Winnie, let me ask you a question. What is your most valuable asset?
My most valuable asset is my property. That is
Okay.
the asset I've got that is valuable to me, because I know if I work on it, it's one thing that would bring me steady income that will be able to take care of me and my family.
Good one. I think another one is time.
True.
Your time, maybe next to your property or even above, is your most valuable.
But the reason why time would not feature so close is, I mean, if I have nothing to do that would, secure my tomorrow, why am I valuing it so much? I'll be like, okay, today has gone, another and will come tomorrow.
For example, what are we doing now? Right now, you are communicating to 50 plus people, sometimes 100, 200, 300, even 1,000 people. These tips about life. That time is important because it's generating a lot for you, including money. Okay, including money. So I think what I wanted to communicate here is our time. You see, your property that you have today, you've generated that over a period of time. So you have been doing something in the hours, the years before you, to up to today to generate your assets. So what you do with your time is the most important thing. It's the most important asset, especially what you do with not the past but the future.
Okay.
Especially what you do with the future. So people who have generated wealth have learned the art of making sure that their time is valued and the value keeps increasing. Okay. So one of the ways to do that is to make sure that your assets that you have built today, that you make them work for you, they're generating the money, and you free up time to do other things which are valuable to you. So when I hear the word financial independence, for me, what it means is, I'll give an example. Maybe I'm in a job where perhaps I'm comfortable today, but if I manage to invest my money that generates my salary or income, which I can use to meet my bills, and I go and do other things. So I free up my time to go and do other bigger, more impactful things.
And then my money can work for me.
So my money can work for me. So that's what being financially independent is, where you're not relying on a job or even a specific business, but you have invested and you don't spend your time there. I'll give you an example. If you invested money in stocks, and those stocks, they pay you in dividends every year, or maybe 3 times a year. One of the companies like MTN now, it pays dividends about 3 to 4 times a year. Now that is your money working for you. You don't spend any time in MTN. you're just a shareholder. They credit the money directly to you, either your mobile money account or your bank account. Now that is generating financial independence. So if you do that and you do it for many things, which bring you money when you're not there, then you're being financially independent, because you find that these your assets which pay you dividends and interest, they don't require you to be there. They generate the money, but you can afford to go and do other things. Maybe even spend time with your children at home, helping them with homework. That also is financial independence, where you're not relying, you're not spending your 8 a.m. up to 5 p.m. in one place to generate money, but there are things that you're establishing before which are doing it for you. So that's how to build wealth, by moving away from being stuck somewhere to generate money, to investing in things which do it for you while you go on to do other things, maybe going to build other businesses or other investments. So that's how I look at financial independence and wealth.
Wow, financial independence, even just to go a bit more further, I think there are so many ways that we can be financially independent, and I would want you to go deeper into those. What are some of the things that we can do to achieve that, to get to that status where my money is working for me, but I'm not out there hustling out? I have time to do other things, but my money is working for me and always bringing in something for me on a daily basis. What are some of the things that I can do that would guarantee me that kind of lifestyle?
I'll give some specific examples. One of the examples is, today, if you had 1 million shillings, instead of leaving it on a bank account as savings, if you got that money and used it to buy what is called a treasury bond, a treasury bond is, you're basically lending government money. Every year, government will pay you interest 2 times a year. After 6 months, they pay you some. After 6 months, they pay you back. When the bond matures, maybe it's after 1 or 2 years, they give you back the original money you invested.
Now, so put a pause on that one. How do I get to know about those government bonds?
We will get there. For now, let me just introduce the options. Okay. So that's one. The second one is, you talked about buying stocks. You bought a stock. The stock will pay you dividends, maybe sometimes once a year. But if you bought stocks in different companies, I've been able to see these things. Before you know it, at different times in the year, you look on your bank statement, they're paying you some dividends. So do you spend time there? No. Is it making money for you? Yes. So that's the second example. Another one is unit trusts. We'll talk about unit trusts a bit more in detail, but this is where you get your money, you give it to a professional fund manager, and those fund managers don't deal with everyone. Make sure you deal with people who are licensed by the regulator. So the fund manager gets your money and uses it to make investments, maybe in fixed deposits or in treasury bills, treasury bonds, and they make the money for you. So that's another way of how you can put your money to work.
That sounds like advice you'd give to just those people who understand things that are complicated, like bonds, stocks. Yeah, I think a layman could also invest in. So, like, you have your job, you can go on and buy a border, or you go on and start up a place where you sell fish, fishmonger, and get someone to work for you, and they sell the fish, whether deep fried or raw, and you get money out of that. Or you can also invest in land. You buy pieces of land and sell them and get money. Or you can build houses that give you rent on a daily. You don't have to be there. So there are so many ways that you can, build wealth, minus actually being out there and hustling. But also there are those people who are in the diaspora. What kind of advice would you give them in order for them to gain financial independence or build their wealth, especially those that are in the diaspora? How can you talked about stocks, you talked about bonds, you talked about treasury bills, there are so many things, but because I know you are in that line, it's mostly where you're focusing. Now, if someone is in the diaspora, how can treasury bills or stocks work for them, and how can they monitor them? You talked about unit trusts. How can they work for them?
So, first of all, for all our brothers and sisters out there in the diaspora who are on our chat today, we recognize you. Thank you for the great work that you're doing over there, and for working hard, not just for yourselves, but for Uganda, because the inflows that come from the diaspora are actually quite significant for Uganda. So I think we recognize you for your hard work. So all these options are available to people in the diaspora. I think the easiest one, in my opinion, is unit trusts. What the unit trust helps you to do is you don't have to think about which bond, how do I buy the bond, or which treasury bill, or which share, or which. All you do is open your account with a unit trust manager. The names of the licensed unit trust managers are on the website for an organization called the Capital Market Authority. Once you contact the unit trust manager, they will take you through the process of opening your account. Normally, they just ask you basic things: provide your name, passport photo, and you can fill that information even online. Once your account is created, then you start transferring. You transfer your money. Maybe you want to do it once a month, or let's say every week when you get paid. If you paid, weekly, so you send the money to the bank account. The money is received. It's invested, and it's as easy as that. So, and you also get regular statements that show you, oh, you've invested this much so far. You've invested this much so far. When interest is paid, it will be shown on your account. So that's one of the things that people in the diaspora can do to put their money to work in Uganda.
Now, in a layman's language, when you talk about unit trusts, what is it you're talking about exactly? Because this is something you're introducing to someone who has no financial background, has never heard of unit trusts. How does that work, and what is it? Who can open it up? Can I open it for my children? Is it just for grown-ups? Is it something you can do in your old age after you've worked for some years? What are unit trusts, and who can really open them up?
So
how do they work?
Unit trusts. I don't want to use very, very heavy words, but unit
in a layman's language
in simple terms, a unit trust is where you invest your money with a professional. I want to emphasize that it's a professional licensed company, which gets your money, and not just yours, but of other people, 100, 1,000 people. For example, today in Uganda we have over 100,000 people who have invested in unit trusts. So the unit trust collects your money plus the money of other people who are investing in it, and it does the investments for you. So, for example, you don't have to go to a bank to say that I want to make a fixed deposit. The unit trust gets your money. It puts the money. Remember, it collects a lot of money from different people. Then you can even bargain for better rates. If you were to make your fixed deposit yourself, let's say they give you 3-4%, the unit trust goes with $1 billion shillings. It goes to the bank, say, I want 7%. So one advantage of investing through unit trusts is they are professional, they are licensed, they can bargain for better rates of return. so that you can see the difference of what I'm saying there.
Mm.
The other important thing about unit trust is that you can get your money anytime. Let's say you need it to deal with an emergency, you can apply for your money and you can get it within maybe 24 hours or even less. So it's very flexible, and you can start with as little as maybe 100,000 shillings. So you don't have to amass a lot of money first to start investing. So investing is simple in unit trust because you can start small and then you grow over time. So in a nutshell, that is how unit trusts operate. Your rates of return whenever the unit trust invests in wherever it invests, the return is paid to you, and the return is paid to you daily. So every day they pay you some interest. Whenever you want your money, you can get it out anytime. Maybe I can also emphasize that anyone can open, whether you're an individual or you're opening for your child, you're investing for a child, or you're a company, or you're a circle, whatever category of investor that you're an investment club, you can also open your unit trust. And you say, let's invest our money here. So that's one of the easiest ones. But even the other two that I talked about, like treasury bonds, are something that with the diaspora can do. Just that those ones require a bit more physical presence to open your accounts, etc., and working through your bank. So the easiest option for now is unit trust.
So when you talk about unit trust being easier, does that mean someone in the diaspora can open up an account with them and
Yes.
without being physically
you don't
present?
have to be physically present. For example, through Stanbic, you can open a Stanbic unit trust, online. You just go to the website. You'll be able to get a link. You create your account. Once your account is approved, if you provide all the required information, and you're happy to go. So it's not something that is very complicated. It's very easy.
What about these things I hear about internet scam? Like I think I'm on say like you give an example of Stanbic Bank, yeah? And then I end up on a different website altogether, and then I fill in wire my money, and it's going to actually some scammers out there.
I think you're right, and that's why I emphasize.
Wouldn't it be better if I was physically present and then I apply for the unit, or either way it's okay?
Either way is okay. What's important is you do your background checks first to check that the person that you're registering with is licensed. And like I said, if you went to at least the CMA website for it, it's called the Capital Markets Authority, they'll be able to give you a list of who the licensed firms are, and they put their contact names, phone numbers, and websites. So that's one place at least you can trust that you can get information which has been verified by the regulator, the firms, and their contact persons. So I recommend all investors, that's where you should start. Don't do investments in entities that you've not verified license, because we know many people have lost money by not dealing with, not paying attention to those details, and they end up losing money. So that's the starting point. Be careful. Once you've verified the company, then you can engage with its website to open your accounts. But it's as long as you follow that process, you should be fine. You should be fine. And then, but I just want you to know, Whitney, that there's many Ugandans who have invested through this vehicle, and it's growing. And a lot of them are actually coming from the diaspora. And the good thing is, now you can even invest in dollars.
You see?
Yes. Let's say like you earn your money in dollars, you want to keep it here, you can open your unit trust in dollars.
Does that mean when I'm withdrawing, it will be in dollars?
It will be in dollars. So that option is also there. So there are various channels of how you can invest. I think there's a question there from Single Dad.
Single Dad has just written. Okay, Jasper wrote. We can first deal with him. Jesper wrote and said, what is a stock? Because you talked about stocks, and like I said, you're talking to people who have no clue. They've always heard of these different terms being thrown around, but not knowing what exactly these are. So, what are stocks? When you talk about buying stocks, what are those?
So a stock is a term or a word that means a piece, a small piece of a company.
So the company is built with different pieces.
So let's give an analogy of a pizza. If you bring a pizza home, I don't know how many slices.
Depending on the size.
Depending on the size. But if it's a small pizza, how many will be cut into?
6 pieces.
6, maybe even 4. If it's a large pizza, maybe a bigger number of slices. So a stock is just one piece of a company. So companies, when companies want to raise money, let's say when you have a travel company, okay, you want to raise money maybe because you have grand plans. You want to buy, vans. You want to buy, I don't know, maybe it's lodges. I don't know what it is. Where people are going to go and your clients, you're going to take them to. To do that, for you to raise money, which is assuming you don't have all the money, but you want to raise it from other people, some from other people. So you would sell shares in your company. Let's say the company is called Matovo and sons and daughters. Let's assume that's your company name. So you say, we are going to keep 50% of the company for us, but the other 50%, the other half, we are going to invite other people to come and invest with us. So they will be buying shares in the company. So stocks and shares, they mean the same thing. It's just terms used in different, by either American or so that's what a stock is. It's just a piece of a company. So when you buy stocks, you become a shareholder. You are an owner of that company, even though you're a small owner, but you are an owner. So you hold some piece of that company.
I hope, Jesper, that answers your question. And guys, this is a live chat. Go, feel free to drop a comment, ask any question regarding the topic so far, Kafal, and he will at least try and answer you. And Single Dad has written something here. Maybe you could read it.
Okay, so Single Dad says, what would be his best investment plan and like how much? Wow. This is a good question, but I think I would say it depends. It depends on you. It depends on your circumstances. I'll just give an example. Different people have different needs. So you can find, for example, somebody who is 50 years old today, and what they are thinking about is, in 10 years from now, I'm not going to have a job, or I will not have the energy to work. So that person has a different need altogether. Okay? Their need is, I need to plan for my retirement. First park that thought there. Then you might find another person who has just finished university and they want to start investing. The person who has a few years to go to retirement, that person, his best investment plan is to do things which are not risky. Like, he should just invest, maybe do safe investments. I wouldn't recommend, for example, that person who, especially if they haven't started a business before, to now say, I'm going into agriculture. Because you don't know how seasons operate. You don't know how to, which diseases affect chickens or goats at which time. The best thing for you to do at that stage of life is to invest in things which are safe, which are secure, so that in the next 10 years, your money is available to look after you in retirement when you don't have an income. So, for example, for a person like that, I would recommend put your money in safe instruments like in treasury bonds, unit trusts, things like that. Safe.
Because it works for you even when you're not physically involved.
Exactly. And it is safe. It's going to be there. On the other hand, someone who is younger, who is right out of school, that person I would recommend that they buy a lot of stocks. Why? Because stocks normally, share prices, go up over the long time. I'll give you an example. Did you know that let me see, which company can I use? I've seen several companies, but maybe even if we can use developed markets. For example, a company like Apple, someone who bought Apple shares about 20 years ago and invested just $100 and hasn't touched it, with that money alone, they'll probably be close to $1 million. Close. I need to run the numbers. So you just
have to find the right company to invest with.
Find the right companies.
And buy shares.
Just buy shares. And if you can't, buy the shares consistently. Like every month, you buy some.
You buy some.
So the investment plan, just to go back to your question.
Single dad.
It depends on your circumstances. So the same investment advice might not work for different categories of people. So that's, I hope I've answered it well, but if you'd like me to supplement more, maybe you can give us some of your characteristics and, who are you, how old are you, do you have debt or do you not have debt? Then we can give more specific advice. But it depends on, but generally speaking, most of the things I've talked about, and Winnie, I apologize here if I've not, talked about business, because I'm sure some of our viewers will benefit from just hearing about other options outside of business in the financial markets, like where I work.
Well, there will be different times that we'll talk about different things. So, but today it's okay for us to just get to know about that a bit. Now, there's something you talked about, people in the diaspora, that they can do and open up those unit trusts. If they can open them up, the reason why I brought him is because I realized we handled finances in the past and we also handled savings in the past. And there are people who are in the diaspora and are working hard and sending their money home, and family members or the people that they've listed as next of kin have gone on and taken up all that money. And so they come back home to nothing. This is one of those avenues that you can be guaranteed that if I've put my money, he has said it's online. There are listed companies that you can buy shares from, and you can be guaranteed of your money working for you, even when you're out there hustling. And that would guarantee you money coming in, another additional income from the one that you're actually working at now. Yeah. So that's the reason why I wanted another option that would help the person in the diaspora. And you said that they can apply online for this, and don't they require identification? Can someone who is not a Ugandan take on the unit trust thing, or is it specifically to Ugandans now that we are in Uganda?
So yes, even a non-Ugandan, thankfully, can invest in Uganda. All you need to do is provide your client information to the respective party that you're dealing with. Sometimes they'll ask for your passport, any other details. So luckily, Uganda is an open country, which invites, we operate what's called an open capital market. So it's easy to bring in your money to invest and also to take it out. In some countries, by the way, it's you can take in the money, you can invest, but getting it out becomes quite difficult.
So Uganda, sanctions to some of our
thankfully is an open country. So as long as you provide your passport, even a non-Ugandan can open these accounts. I think some of the other options for the diaspora, I think we talked about even shares. You can open those accounts, and I've opened accounts of people in the past who have not been in the country. All they do is send you all their information. As long as it checks out, the account can be created. So the option that's another option that you can do in the diaspora. I think we had a question from Lupa TV live stream, who talks about 3 years son.
He has a 3-year-old.
He has a 3-year-old. What would be the best investment? Would stocks be fine for him? Lupa, spot on. The good thing about stocks, especially if you buy, of course, you have to do your due diligence also. You have to do your research. But if you ask normally the licensed companies, they will tell you there are available companies where you can invest. There are some companies which have been around for some time. For example, like Stanbic. Someone who bought shares in Stanbic when it listed in 2007, their money has gone up maybe 10 times.
Is it?
Yeah, since 2007. So, especially for young people, children, it's fine. Just buy for them stocks. Of course, sometimes not all companies do well, so you find that the share prices will go up if the company does well, or they will fall if the business does not do so well. But most times, as long as you invest it in the solid companies, for example, we have companies like Stanley.
Yeah, but now
MTN,
those companies you're talking about, would they be able to take small money from me? Like if I'm buying shares, small, money. Like this month I'm buying for 50,000. Next month, if I happen to get more, I buy for 100. Next time it's 200. Would they be flexible in that way, or it's a certain amount that is required?
Now, Winnie, that's exactly why financial markets are for everyone. You can invest from as little as 50,000 shillings, and you can do that every month. Just keep buying. You see, the advantage of financial markets, and when we're talking about stocks, unit trusts, is you don't have to first wait until you accumulate a million shillings. Let's say if you had wanted to buy a plot of land, the minimum amount of money you have to spend today in Uganda be around, I'm imagining around, maybe if it's in a planned neighborhood, maybe 5 million shillings for a 50 by 100 or even more. But with stocks, unit trusts, 50, 100,000, you can start investing today. And for me, that's the most important advice, that they help you, to start investing right now with your little money, and it grows over time instead of you waiting for when you accumulated a lot of money. So that's the advantage of investing through stocks, unit trusts. That it's affordable, it's very flexible, and they're also liquid, meaning that in case you need your money, you can easily sell them. But if you want to sell a plot of land, you have to wait a couple of months. Some land have been trying to sell. It's there, yes, it has a market value, but selling it is not simple. It has taken many months. Yeah.
So guys, there you have it about building wealth. Yeah, it's a live chat. Just a quick reminder, it's a live chat. If you have a question, go ahead and ask. You have it answered right here. And if you need guidance, go ahead and still drop in the comments. We'll be able to read your comment as and when it drops in, and we have time for it. Now, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about: wealth building strategies for different income levels. You realize in Uganda we have different income levels. There are those who earn per month. There are those who earn per day. There are those who earn per week. How can I, build my wealth? Yeah, even when how can wealth be built even when we have different levels? I guess it takes us back to when you talked about stocks, unit trusts. Now, me, this is what I would say. as me in a practical sense. There are many ways we can build our wealth depending on our levels. Uh, it's always good that we aim high, but again, we need to know where what our limit is, because you can want to do big investments, but right now you don't have that much money, and we're not saying you go out there and start stealing. Be realistic. I earn 10,000 a day. How much can I invest? Much can I save? How much can I use? And in Uganda we have that saying of kamu kamu we Uganda. Yeah, you save little by little, and before you know it, say like you earn 10,000 a day, and you choose to keep 2,000 every day. After a week, it would be 10,000. So you can choose to invest the 10,000 in what is said, working smart, as the present day is. You don't have to be out there working with 10,000. You can put it out there. There's no guaranteed returns. But what he's talking about of shares and stocks or unit trusts, the advantage is that is guaranteed. It may bring fluctuated returns at the end of the day, because the rate goes up and it drops and then it goes, but you would still be getting something, as opposed to putting my money out there in a business that I don't have any idea about. That could be risky. I could get my 2 million, buy stock, get into those unit trusts, and then watch as that brings me money per day. Because depending on how much you've put in, is how much you get, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that for this question, it ties back to what I started speaking about earlier, that investing is not about having a lot of money. You don't have to wait for when you have a lot of money for you to start investing. Even with a low income, as long as you save regularly, you put that money aside, you say, this one, it's not for now. You have to say, I'm not, everything I earn, I'm not going to spend it all. I have to keep something for the future. Winnie, that's how people get rich.
It's the discipline.
It's the discipline to say that I have earned 10,000 shillings today. I'm going to take off my transport. I'll eat maybe 2,000. Maybe the difference is 6,000. And then you say, out of the 6,000, I'm going to save, let's say, 3,000. And you do that if you earn daily. You start by being disciplined to put aside some money every day. Not everybody earns daily. Some people, of course, it's monthly, so you have to adjust accordingly. But the general principle is pay. It's called paying yourself. The others, when you spend your money on transport, food, there you're not paying yourself. The money that you pay yourself is the money that you save. Now that is paying yourself. So when you get that money, it accumulates. Let's say you invest it. Now there you're creating wealth. That's how wealth is created. Wealth accumulates, meaning that if you do that daily, if you're earning daily and you're putting aside that money and investing it, after one day, you earn interest on the money you invested yesterday. If on the second day, you also save, what that means that you will the money you saved the day before has earned interest. Now also the money you saved today is also going to earn interest. They were asking the other day about Matia Kasaija, our Minister of Finance, and he was talking about how he was very optimistic on Uganda's economy. And he said, just what our economy is going to go like. I don't know if you know that, you've seen that meme. When you do that every day, where you're investing consistently, your wealth will move like this. Initially, in the early years, I our viewers can't see me. It will first be like this, but over a number of years, after it, the curve starts skyrocketing like this. But it starts with the discipline of putting aside something small regularly, and in simple things. By the way, you don't have to invest in things which pay a high rate of return. If you hear people saying, well, no, you can, we'll take on a sentence, so organize really, let's assume, someone speaking in Uganda, or that if you invest your money here, you're going to double it in less than a month.
That is
Be careful. You can invest in very simple things which pay you a normal rate of return, like maybe a government bond. And if you do that over time, your wealth will accumulate. So that's how wealth is built when we're speaking about different income bands and how to invest. So it's about the discipline, the frequency, the consistency, and doing that every time and paying yourself. That's how we prepare. That's how today countries like Singapore, which are the countries we admire, they started by having very high savings rates where people save a lot of their money. They don't consume it. So you find even the country now, the whole country, they have a lot of savings. So then they start to invest in their roads, bridges, power stations, because as a nation, they have very high savings rates. Countries like Norway, they save so much that they are the ones who are lending the US money now. So even because of saving. So at an individual level, I want to urge all our viewers, create your discipline around. You work so hard, but in the future, when you're retiring, what would you have? The money you will have in your retirement is not. Don't wait to depend on your children. You start by creating it now. With the time that like I said, the biggest asset that we have is time. So if you start now, who knows, the next 10, 20, 30 years, you'll be amazed, even if you did. And maybe when I come back on this channel, one day I'll show you the mathematics of saving. How something little, as long as you start early, even if you just do little money every month, you'll be wealthy. You'll be wealthy. You won't need to depend on people.
We are all going to become rich. We are. That takes me to the question that I was going to ask you about generational wealth, creating a lasting financial legacy. That actually answers that question. I was going to ask about how can I create a financial legacy for myself or create generational wealth. These developed countries, we call them developed because there are certain things they have already been doing and we're just hearing of them or we are just adopting them. Like there are those countries where the great-great-grandfather started up something, and then the children came and found it, made it better, and it's still running. And then the grandchildren found it, and then the great-grands found. How can I create a generational wealth or a lasting, financial legacy for myself now? Because all we have is time. Now that answers me, because when you said you can start now and then in time to come it will skyrocket. Do those unit trusts have a time limit? Can I start now and my kids grow up and graduate and still be able to enjoy it myself and my kids find it and just carry it on? Or does it stop with me?
Great question there on legacy and generational wealth.
Well, yeah.
Maybe if we had to start directly on the question that you posed, most of the time when you open this investment account, you'll be asked for your next of kin. In case something happened to you, what should they do with your money? So there's always that fallback position on who will be contacted in the event of your, let's say, demise, maybe if you're passed on. So some of the reflections that I have when I think about the questions that you posed around how to build generational wealth. I think one of the things that works is first of all, it's important to start exposing our children to the things that we do. Okay, so perhaps you've been a good business person in trading business in Chikuo, and you're very successful. You've achieved a lot, because you know where to buy from, you know who the where to source your supplies from, you know who the buyers are, so you know how to do it yourself. But you're not going to be able to do that actively in your later years.
True.
So I think the first aspect is, are we training our children, for example, to take up those spaces? One of the things that we know that our friends in the Indian community have done very well is, from when children are young, they are involved there in the shop. They are taking records, they are taking stock, they are learning, they are seeing how to calculate a margin that I've bought at this price, I've sold at this price. So involving our children in the businesses that we run is one way to sustain them longer. So that's one. I think the other one is, you have to, if it's, again, I'll give an example of a business, to put in place systems that ensure that your business is secure. For example, you keep good record of your books of accounts. How much have you sold? What has it cost you? What is your profit? What is your tax? And you pay your taxes, because right now in Uganda, URA is trying to enforce tax compliance. If you have not paid taxes for many years, they can actually close down your business. They can close the shop. Maybe you are unable to find the money to pay the taxes. You can end up going out of business. So I think having structures in place, good structures that ensure that your business will be sustainable. Okay, sometimes those structures can include having what's called a board of directors, where these are people who you call to help you keep accountable. That, are you running the company well? They help to ask you questions that, okay, what are you following the policies? How are you hiring well? Different topics. Do you have the right strategy? So that's one way. But maybe on the other side, if we're to think about someone maybe who's not in business, but is maybe just investing, just investing their money. Even in that scenario, you can plan to ensure that in case something happens to you, for example, even things like insurance. Insurance is part of generational planning.
Yeah, because
even taking out insurance, you can take out insurance that says that should something happen to you, you can put your business, your assets into an insurance policy. So that in case something happens to you, instead of writing a will, some people can take out life insurance.
How does that work on a business?
Okay, maybe they work for business. Life insurance is mostly for personal, life. That in case I die, this is what should happen to my beneficiaries. This is the amount of money that should be paid. If you take out a life insurance policy, it's one way to protect the future generation. It's to transfer your existing wealth
to the
next. So there are various things that you can do around generational wealth planning. It's a deep topic. There are many things to speak about there. But another important one is, ladies and gentlemen, you have to plan for a will. You have to plan for a will. A will ensures that there is a seamless. Okay, sometimes it can be challenged, but should something happen to you, let those who come after you at least have a smooth transfer, that this is allocated so and so, or maybe someone will run with this. So a will again is one way to work with generational wealth transfer. You've worked very hard, but if you don't want a sudden event to find you as if you had never planned. So I know those are topics that we are not comfortable talking about, but that is planning for the next generation. As we talk about wealth transfer and legacy, legacy is where the name just doesn't disappear and falls off the face of the earth.
True.
But you have planned for what happens in the events. So those are mine. I don't know if you have any your own perspectives on what you would like to share on this topic.
No, I like the way you put it when you said we involve our children in what we are doing. Say like you worked. The thing is, we as parents tend to cushion our children so much, and they don't get to know how we hustle to get the money, how we work so hard to have what we have, and so they grow up thinking, money will always be there. My dad has always had this money. My mom already has always had this money. But I like the whole idea of us, introducing our children to what it is that brings us money or has made us who we are. That is very key, especially now. Those of you who are watching in from the diaspora, you're working so hard, but you cannot work that kind of work for so long. You can only work for it in that kind of line for a time when you still are well able. But there comes a time where you've given in so much and you want to sit back and see your money grow. And when you have those children or those people that come, like he said, after you, you want that your money it goes to the right hands and it stays, and your name does not fade off the earth just like that. I like the way you put it. So there is literally not much I can add to that, except, guys, you've heard it's a live chat. Go ahead, drop in your comments, ask questions. He will be able to try and answer them as long as they are in line with what we are talking about. Today we are talking about money and investment, building financial independence and building our wealth. How can we build an everlasting wealth or a legacy, a financial legacy where you are known for something? These people in developed countries do that a lot. They hang in there regardless of what is going on. Say, like, I enter into that business of shoes, like Marks and Spencer. Those are brothers. They opened up a shop and it went viral. They opened up different branches but it's brothers that got together and opened up. And to date, I bet they are not even still alive, but their children are taking over the name and it's still going and it's still bringing in money. Just in Uganda, where we come from, that thing doesn't work so much where, you hear the Wafamunos and before you know it, you're wondering, what were they known for? Because they are not there anymore. You hear the Murwanas and they are not there anymore. Why? Because they died, and we don't have that tradition of introducing our children to what we are doing and getting them involved, so that brings us money, or that thing that gives us wealth carries on. I hope we've borrowed a thing or two. And guys, I encourage you, it's a live chat. Don't stay in silence. Ask questions and also give your comments. It's a life experience. Friday is dedicated to that. So go ahead and share your opinion as well, or even ask questions. The other thing I wanted to ask is how do you negotiate a higher salary or benefits at work? So like you're working, like those who are in the diaspora, those who are in the offices, how can anyone negotiate for a higher salary at work or benefits? Say like you're working, because benefits come in and they come in handy. I know of a couple that are working, both the husband and wife are working, and they all have insurance policies. And when their children get sick, they have to decide which person is taking on that, claim. And you see that, say, like, dental is expensive and opticians are also expensive. So the company only covers just a little bit of the bill, not all of it. So I like it when I see them, the husband being insurance policy covering some bit, and then the woman's bit also covers off some bit. And before you know it, they have a minimum amount to pay. So how can I negotiate for an increase in salary or benefits at work?
Uh, I'm sure all salary people would be, everybody wants to earn
More
a
than
bit more, a little bit more than what you currently take home.
yes.
But the starting point for all of us is, whenever you turn up at work,
Mm.
you need to ask yourself a question. And that question is, what am I bringing to my job today? If, let's say, you are paid 1 million shillings per month, think about what you contribute and how you contribute to the company making that money. I've read somewhere a rule of thumb that you should, if you're paid 1 million shillings, make sure that you create 6 million shillings for the company. So first put the pressure on yourself to say, how am I personally going to create value for the company? If you think like that, the rest will be automatic, because value is rewarded to those who create it. That, for me, is the starting point, that even as we all want to earn more, let's think about what we are. So, for example, in my current job, I always have to be thinking, how am I going to make money for the business? Because I know if I do that, the rest is going to trickle down to me. So I think having that mindset is important, that if we want more, let's work hard and be people who are not just takers, but we are creators. For me, that's a subtle bit of information that is, and so it doesn't matter wherever you work. That's how you should think, because those who create the value will get paid. The other one is is, of course, when it comes to benefits. If you're making a choice, for example, of a job to take, you need to find out certain things. Does it have NSSF? For example, if you're working, if in a professional setting, is my company paying me NSSF? Are they paying for me? Are they saving for me? Because that's the requirement by law for any company that has any company in Uganda now. Some companies, apart from NSSF, maybe they even have additional savings outside of NSSF. Medical insurance, like you talked about, is a very, very big benefit, because it saves you from, excuse me, from costs that, if you bore those costs for medical, it could be very high. So medical insurance is extremely important. So I'll just summarize by saying, we all want more. What is important is, of course, to have the right work attitude, to create value, and then you can go to your boss and say that, boss, I have done this and this and this. Yeah, this is the value I have created. So you're in a better negotiating position when you're of that mindset, compared to someone who just rocks up at work, and we must be honest also, our work attitude in many parts of Uganda is not great. Sometimes we are laid back, but if you want the money. So for me, showing up at work, your whole self, work hard, create the value, bring in the clients, or maybe or whatever, even if your job involves bringing clients, but do the job that you do extremely well, that the conversation will be a lot easier. Will be a lot easier. So that's what I can say.
Now, how can what can you say also about the psychology of money and spending habits? Like we have this thing of now I'm earning more, why not spend more? Yeah. What can you say about that psychology of money and spending habits? Because my pay increased, I will be able to get that thing and also get that one, be able to party every Friday night, be able to get my schools to expensive schools, yet you cannot sustain that. So what have you got to say about that psychology of money spending habits?
Yeah, we many people have grappled with that. I want to call it lifestyle inflation. When we were right out of school, the first jobs that we got, maybe our salary was 500K or
And we were very okay.
yeah, we were okay. You get up, you get a taxi to work, you get to work on time, you eat lunch of 5K, you go back home, you buy your airtime, and by the end of the month, you still have some money left.
True.
Okay? Now, there's a trap where when you start earning more,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you look at the shop, you see, I can afford that bag.
I can't
I
believe
can
I've been shopping in this
I
place.
can afford that shoe. I eat lunch of 30,000. But do you actually need to?
No.
You don't need to. Now, the people who recognize that difference, the ones who say, I will keep as much as possible my lifestyle the way it was when I was earning little. Where does that money end up? They end up having a lot of savings, which they invest, which eventually, that's, by the way, that money, I've had people saying a salary cannot make you rich. Please don't believe them.
So it's not true?
It's not true. Okay, it's the context in which they say it many times is that you have to create things,
That
open
will make you,
companies,
yeah.
and I understand that. I respect that. But even somebody who is not a business person that is consistent with their money which they are saving and investing can do extremely well with generating wealth. So it's very difficult, I would say, especially to earn a lot of money and stay disciplined. But I have one particular friend who he is someone who I would call stinking rich. But yet he's so humble. He doesn't he's not concerned about what people think about the car he drives. He drives a very simple car. He is not moved. Instead, he gets his money and he puts it in things which are generating more and more money. But he lives a very humble life. He has things which make him happy. He takes his drink for it. Okay, for him, he's not born again, but he takes his drink. But on many aspects of his life, he's very disciplined, controlled, and for me, that's someone I consider someone who has a wealthy mindset. So when I speak about psychology is about how the mind. How do I not fall for the trap to spend excessively simply because I have got more? But also, even when I have little, how do I avoid thinking that I can't afford to invest just because I have little? So it works both ways. Even when you have little, you should still plan for it and invest it like it is important. When you have much, you should still keep your costs down and ask, do I really need to spend on this? Or can I get an alternative, something cheaper, which will do the job? If I'm thinking about cars, should I buy a Benconi because I have the money? Or am I okay with with the one that I have? So that's how I think about money psychology. But for me, the lessons I have seen in history in finance, some of the richest people in the world, people like Warren Buffett. If you look at the house that he lives in, very humble, very humble.
But the thing is,
Because even actually, when you end up with these big things, they end up even costing you a lot more later on.
to maintain.
I'm not saying we shouldn't enjoy our money. I'm just saying that the general science and statistics shows that people who have succeeded in life have been very disciplined in how they handle their money. They don't go all out because they made a lot of money in a big deal, and then they just risk it and spend it excessively.
But you see, us as Ugandans or Africans, how you know someone's wealth is normally by that it has increased by their lifestyle. It immediately changes. I don't know how to balance that out, that people can be able to increase wealth, but still, live a normal life. It's really hard. It's a discipline, like you have put it. But someone else says, guys, this is a live chat. Go ahead and drop in your comments and we will read them. And you can also feel free to call in on +256 762 599 138. You'll be able to join us on this one. Otherwise, there's someone who has dropped in a comment. You can read it.
Vincent says that comes in how you handle your financial discipline. Thanks for the lecture. Thank you, Vincent. I was really hoping it's not a lecture. It's just a talk, between friends, between us and you, just sharing our
opinions.
Our opinions.
Because that's how we grow ourselves. That's how we better ourselves. We tend to admire those who have made it, those who have already got the money, but they also have their start off point. There's somewhere where it all began. But what is so deceptive is we see that finished product when someone has come up rich, and you're like, oh my goodness, that guy has this car, he has these investments, and you want them all in one go. There was a time he didn't have all of them. And over time, he's accumulated them. So, that's what we are trying to get to, how we can all get ourselves there, how we can, keep ourselves from being psychological spenders. We spend because our income has increased. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the economic trends and the global finances that is so popular now. How has inflation, how inflation affects our everyday life? How does the price changes or the money circulation, how does it affect our lifestyle in the day-to-day life?
Yeah, I think as we switch gears to talk about economics and trends and global finance, inflation is what happens to the value of your money over time, or what your money can do over time. In summary, every country is faced with what's called inflation. In other words, that the prices of goods, the prices of services we consume goes up. Okay, so for example, we saw fuel prices. Remember during COVID, prices shot to the roof. Why? Because there was limited production. We saw some countries cutting off output, like the OPEC countries. They reduced the amount of oil that they produce intentionally. Now that sent prices where up. We saw things like the Russia-Ukraine conflict, that war. Goods which we used to receive before, things which we didn't even know that we import a lot of agricultural produce comes through Ukraine. Because of that war, some of those products stopped being produced, we saw the prices of those items went significantly up. So prices of goods and services change over time. Now, what happens to our money is that if inflation is very high, if prices in the economy change very fast and go up very fast, for example, let's say rent, you find that if your money does not, if you, let's say, earning a salary, and over 5 years, your money doesn't change, you earn 1 million shillings per month for 5 years. In the second year, third year, what that money can buy is less and less. Okay, maybe, for example, when it comes to your rent, the rent that you pay is going up, maybe every year, but you're earning the same money. So you end up staying with less money in real terms. So that's how inflation affects us, because in our day-to-day life, because it leaves you with less disposable income, and even what you stay with can buy less goods than it used to. For example, we've seen, again, I think in the last couple of years, we've seen several examples. They say the cost of sugar jumps from 3,000 a kilo to 7,000.
True. So and it keeps on going up.
Yeah, if your income has not changed, you find that you can afford less and less of things that you used to. So that's how inflation affects our daily lives. Now, that's why, as an if we take on the perspective of an investor, when you're investing your money, one of the questions you need to have is my money growing at least at the rate of inflation or higher than inflation? If it is not, then your money is decreasing in value. But if your money, if inflation, let's say it's 5%, and today inflation, luckily for now in Uganda, our inflation has been a bit controlled, especially in the last few years. It's now just about 3.9%. So if you are investing and your rate of return is above inflation, let's say you're investing in a unit trust which is paying you 12%, at least you say, yes, at least my money is not declining in value, it's growing because it's earning more than inflation. So as an investor, you always need to compare what's the rate of return on the place I'm putting my money and what's the inflation in the country. There have been times where inflation is very high, like goes up in the 20%, and that can be quite difficult for an investor. So I know these are deep financial concepts, but they're important to have
as well to know.
So that we know where to invest and how inflation affects us.
Well, what about the rise of the digital banking and they call it fintech? Yeah.
Yeah, the world has changed a lot. Winnie, I don't know if you remember, but there was a time, at least the days I went to university, you had to go to, they used to pay us a certain allowance. The government used to pay us a certain allowance. So
when you
were at campus.
Yes.
So you were given a book, and there was a card in there.
Yes.
And you go write your name. You say on this date you signed, and they give you an amount of money. It's recorded there.
That was to all those who are on government basis and also passes highly. Yeah. I remember signing for that one.
So there were days like that where to access your money, you had to have a physical card, take it to a bank, somebody gives you the money, signs. Even before, I'm sure there's been many, but banking has changed a lot. Today, you can bank without stepping into a bank account. I have, yeah, without ever.
Even withdraw money without going to
one of my banks, I haven't stepped into a bank account into a branch for maybe 2 years because I can do all my banking online. So it has freed up my time because when I'm making my investments, I just tell my relationship manager that please do this and this, and it's working smoothly. So um, that's one of the things to embrace as we get into this new era.
But is it a good thing?
For me, it's a very good thing. It's different, but for me, it presents me with, again, one of the, like, I think how one of the things we talked about, if I can free up my time to not do something like drive, find parking, go past the security guard, go in the queue in the branch just to pay an electricity bill.
What about
I'm
the
freeing up
fraud
my
that
time.
comes with that?
So of course, again,
Because you can do internet banking, you go deposit your money, and for some reason it's not registered on the account.
I don't dispute that there have been, because of the digital banking, it's coming with extra risks. But I think there are risks that we need to learn to live with. For example, when you're doing your banking, you shouldn't do your banking over networks that are not private. Okay. For example, you shouldn't do your banking over general Wi-Fi somewhere at an airport because you found it. Why? Because it can be hacked. Or so you can ensure that you follow the principles or guidelines set by your bank. Be careful around using VPNs when using your banking platforms. So there's controls on how you can minimize the risk. Don't share your password with Buffet. People, there will always be someone who will trick you. So I think we have to be alert to the risks. But I think for me, generally speaking, it is a positive and it's where the world is going. It's where the world is going. So that's a lot of the services we access today. Think about even Momo. Momo is a MTN mobile money. That's a fintech. Imagine the things you can do from your phone. You can pay your bills, pay your electricity bills, pay your DSTV, pay your water, pay your suppliers, all from the power of phone. So the world is becoming more digital, more driven by such platforms, and we need to embrace it and even look for opportunities in how it can serve us better in our lives. So again, I think the main message I want to pass on to the viewers is how can you free up your time in the way you invest and what you do to invest your time in other valuable things, in other tools. That way you multiply yourself. That the things that you've done in the past which are working for you, and you move on to high value things too.
And what are people to say about this global financial crisis and what lessons are learned from that? Because, there's the dropping of okay, let's just read that one. He says we read on cryptocurrency. Okay, if he can say something about cryptocurrency and we try and wrap up. Guys, once we drop to 20, we will sign off. I know it is not good, but then we can send off our guest. And then those of you who are still on, we will continue as long as you keep on asking the questions. I'll try and answer what I can. My background is just accounting, not investment. So what can you say about the global financial crisis? But he said cryptocurrency. Can you talk about cryptocurrency?
So I'm not an expert on cryptocurrency, but what is clear in the world over the last couple of years is there's new things that have emerged, which have presented investment opportunities. Some people who have taken the risks have maybe some have benefited, some have lost their money. But essentially, these digitally issued currencies, which which are based on cryptography technology. I think the most famous one maybe would be things like Bitcoin, or others like Ethereum. What we've seen is they have some of them spectacularly well. For example, the price of Bitcoin, I think today is around $80,000. It was nothing maybe 10 years ago. So when it started, it seemed like this is something that some people didn't take it seriously. But over the last couple of years, it has really become something that people are talking about. Central banks are talking about as something that some central banks were against it. Many are. Some
because it's confusing.
Yeah, because it's confusing. But it's also, remember, while the money that we have today, if we have in our bank accounts or in our wallets or somewhere at home, we know is backed by a certain faith in the government that they will honor this, they will meet this obligation. Okay, it's backed up by something. Central banks have been against cryptocurrency because they're asking, what is the store of value? How is this thing regulated? Who regulates it? Who issues it? So there have been many risks around cryptocurrencies. We've seen the prices have been swinging up and down to some people who invested early and gave it a try have actually made quite a lot of money. So for me, again, I'll say I'm not an expert on cryptocurrency, but what I would advise anyone to do before you invest in something is read about it to understand it. Don't get all your money 100% and say, I'm going to put it, I'm going to gamble it in cryptocurrency. No. If you've not yet understood, first leave it, or if you to invest some money there, put very little. You say, like, if you have
and
1 million shillings, put like 50,000 and put money which you can afford to lose. Put money which you can afford to lose, and if 5 years down the road, don't be moved. But if you've lost it, if you are willing to wait and hold on, so that's the attitude I would have towards this new, investment. Some of them are investment opportunities, but the general advice is don't gamble all your money in things that promise to pay you a high rate of return. Investment can be boring, and it's okay where you just invest your money in steady things that you understand, and you can explain. If it's too complex for you, don't do it. Don't. If you don't understand it, simple, don't do it. Do only the things which you understand.
And so you have a passion for.
Yeah, that would be my advice.
So what do you see as you conclude the future of work and money?
The future. So maybe
the way things are going.
Yeah.
Working, how do you see things will end up as?
So I think we've sampled a bit of it already with, I think the recent years have been very volatile. If we think about COVID, for example, we've seen that companies, employees have to adjust something new all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Maybe it's working from home. Yeah. So the future that I see for work is not, fixated to working from particular places. Just
it goes to show you can
being
work
adaptable.
Yeah.
Even employers themselves being adaptable and focusing more on is the value being created by the team that I've hired, regardless of where they are. I see a lot of. I think we're going to see continued, obviously globalization in terms of cutting across, in terms of people working with different people in different countries, in terms of collaborating on projects to deliver results. I think that's going to continue to be a big trend. Of course, technology is a huge part of what's shaping up work with artificial intelligence. Now people can do things that they used to do before for a long time. Now they can do them much faster with using AI. So learning those skills around artificial intelligence and how it can help, to do tasks that before were taking a lot of time, do them much faster, will help us to be more productive and more competitive as well. So AI will be a big shaper of the workplace in the future. It's going to be interesting, especially with the generation, the young generation that's coming up. Obviously, they've been exposed to a different level of education to what we to how we studied, how we went to school. So, how is their readiness for that future of work, where we expect a lot of volatility, things to be changing much more frequently than they were changing in the past. So it will require skill sets of people who are adaptable, who are agile, who are globally aware and globally competitive, and not just looking at having local knowledge, but they should be thinking at the same level as peers, in the UK, the US, in Korea, in South Africa. So that's what I see really about the future of work. But it's a very interesting space which is evolving very fast. I think change is going to be, the rate of change is going to continue to be higher than it has been.
And what about money? What do you see is the future of money? Are we going to be, because there are some countries that have even closed off dealing with hard cash, and there's no more paying, liquid money. It's just now you pay, you run the card, and that's it. No more hard cash. So, what do you see the future of money and work? Money, actually, because you finish work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we touched on it a bit earlier around how banking has changed. I think increased digitalization. We will continue to see more digital solutions offered. I think cryptocurrency is one of those things. I think a couple of years ago, we actually started seeing where cryptocurrency was being accepted by merchants. Like instead of paying cash, you can pay in crypto. But you're right, cash is slowly phasing out. I don't know about you, but many times I go to places and having cash, I don't have cash, but
I have money on my
I pay from my phone very comfortably, and I don't even think about it. So
even the merchant code.
Yes, so you're going to see a lot of value moving into the telecom companies in terms of so the telecom companies that we're dealing with today, in a sense, are banks. A bank. So that's a shift. That's a shift that's happening. Of course, it comes with costs as well, and some of these costs, I call them costs of convenience, because you don't realize, but they're charging you quite a bit.
Like
because of the convenience.
I was paying fees using the school pay thing, and I was surprised how much they charged me just for that one transaction. It almost doubled the bank charges had I gone to the bank.
Yes.
But it's quicker. It saves you on transport.
Exactly. So
and the queues in the bank.
Exactly. So those are some of the. I'm not quite sure if I've done the question justice.
You've tried.
we're going to get more cashless as a society, and I think if you just look at the mobile money transaction volumes, that's an indicator of where we are going, because they're increasing more and more. So again, security around it will be key. How do we guard our exposure, to theft, frauds, etc.
Wow. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I said if we drop up to 20, below 20, we sign out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, subscribers. Those of you who are not yet subscribed, and if you feel like you've enjoyed your chat with us today, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll be able to get notifications of videos as and when they drop in. And also, you'll be able to access in the archives, see where our journey started off from. Otherwise, Fridays are dedicated to live chats. And if you want to get more of these chats, tune in next Friday and you'll be able to see how a topic that we'll be discussing. Alan Matobu says, thanks, guys, for your submissions. Thank you so much for watching. And Single Dad, thank you so much for watching. Jasper, Jemima, Jadine, and there's someone else who shared Elvin, something like that. Thank you so much, guys.
Live stream
Live stream media.